for taking time out of your day to participate in our session, How to Calculate Marketing Return on Investment. This comes from a direct request that we had on our Facebook page from one of the people that follow us and interact with us there. They want to talk to us about how they could make their advertising work and how they could know what's working for them and what's not working for them. So we have this webinar. The response has been absolutely fabulous. We have a full call today. A couple bits of housekeeping. There is a chat window that you have available to you. That chat window, please, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask or you're having any technical difficulty whatsoever, please indicate it in that chat window. Myself or my staff who are monitoring that throughout our call will be happy to try to answer your questions. Our objective is for you to get the information you need to make you successful, so that's what we're going to try to do over our time together today. As always, we will be posting this webinar a little bit later on our site. However, I'm giving away a prize, so I definitely would like you to stay. This gives you a chance to ask questions, to get feedback. Plus, only the people that attend the live version of this webinar have a chance to win a free prize. This prize is nearly $1,000 in value. It will make a bottom line difference on your profits, so I encourage you to stay throughout the whole call with us today. All right, let's get into a little bit meat of the matter. And many of you have probably seen this famous, infamous advertising saying that we have up on the screen now, and that's, I know that half of my advertising budget is wasted, but I'm not sure which half. And that same thing can apply to our marketing budgets and not being sure what half of our marketing budgets are wasted. And my objective today is to make sure that we answer those issues and those questions for you so that you know what's working and what's not. Many of you have participated in some of the webinars and online learning that I've done in the past. For those of you that haven't, just a short overview. This will give you a feel for some of the professional certifications I have. For the past 6 years, I've been honored to host a radio show about online marketing best practices. I've been invited to speak at many industry events, including the SEMA Show, ARMO, Business Technology Symposium, PWA, PRI. I've been to a variety of industry events teaching people just like you how you can make more money through sound marketing practices. I am going to be giving to a caller on this session today a free Facebook mock-up page for their custom page for their business, as well as review with them social media as it relates to their business and plan. It's a custom designed Facebook welcome page, a custom designed banner, plus 60 minutes of my time personally to review with you what you're doing. We're going to be giving that away to one of the people that are on this call. Stay with this webinar, and I'm going to show you how you can enter. Super simple. All of us can do it. Now, we're going to talk about marketing ROI. How can we find out what's making us money and what isn't, and what's working and what isn't working? And what I'm going to walk you through is a beginner's to intermediate level of what you can do. I'm going to make a couple of assumptions for those of you that are on this call, is that you don't have a huge marketing team and a huge marketing staff, that you're pretty much doing things on your own or with one or two people. And let's walk ourselves through some things that are really going to make profit line differences so that we understand what's going on with our marketing. Now, let's talk first so that we're all on the same page. What is this thing called ROI, or return on investment? You know, it's a neat thing. It's one of the things we consider as profit, you know, or different ways we may look at it. It's often expressed in terms of a percentage. And for most of us, if we're looking at our marketing, we take a look at what does our marketing bring in. That would be the benefits, minus the costs. We'll multiply that by 100 to bring it in percentage terms, and then divide it by costs, and that gives us our ROI percent. And obviously, the higher our ROI, or the higher the return on our investment, the better off all of us are going to be, especially if it comes with strong cash flow. So let's look at ROI a little more. Why is it important to pay attention to our return on our marketing investment? Why do we not want to say, hey, I'm not sure what works? Well, let's talk about that. There are 4 basic things. We want to make sure we know what's working, and conversely, we want to make sure we know what's not working. It doesn't make sense to spend marketing dollars on things that don't produce results. It does not make sense to spend marketing dollars on things that don't work as well as others. And if you pay attention to your return on investment and what's happening with your marketing dollars, it helps you make these decisions. It helps you determine where to spend your time and your money. And, you know, like the old country song goes, it helps you determine the winners and the losers and the whiners and the boozers. You know, you get your opportunities that are identified and you realize what you need to get rid of and what you need to keep working with and spending a little bit more on. So let's go back all the way to 1891, and I'm not going to go through a lot of stuff, but this particular presentation, more than most I've ever done, we've got a real lot of meat here and not a lot of graphics. And here's the point. When you measure what you're speaking about, and you can express it in numbers, you know something about it. But if you don't measure it or you can't measure it, then you can't express it in numbers. And your knowledge is meager and it's unsatisfactory. And that's the real reality of why you want to be paying attention to your marketing ROI. And we don't need to turn it into a big complicated process like I said. I'm going to be dealing with this session this morning, or morning on the Pacific Coast, afternoon for my folks and friends out on the East Coast. But I'm going to be dealing with this topic as if I'm a small business and I've got myself and maybe one or two people to help me. If I have to do it all on my own or if I've got some people to help. So let me give you some tips and some practical applications. Not only is it important for us to have numbers, for us to have understanding, but it's also very, very important for us to have good numbers and good numbers understandings to determine what kind of decisions and what we're going to do in our business, what actions we're going to take. And for those of you that have been to some of my webinars before, you may have seen this slide. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses in the aftermarket industry and in the automotive industry as a whole, a lot of them make their decisions by what's been coined as the HIPPO method. I first heard this from Brian Eisenberg, coined this term or used this term, and he claimed he picked it up from a friend of his. But what it really references is how most organizations make decisions. And that's by the HIPPO process. That's the highest influencing person's personal opinion. And the reality is that if you factor in hard-driven data from which to make decisions, the odds are you're going to make better decisions that are going to make profits for you much more quickly. That's part of the name of the game. Now, what do we want to measure in our marketing? And I'm going to get real specific with that in a minute. I'm going to walk you through what to measure, how to measure, what kinds of things to look for. I'm going to show you neat ways and neat tricks to get some things done, and I'm also going to answer some questions. But the reality, what do I want to measure in marketing? Well, just about anything I'm doing. If I'm expending effort on it in my business from a marketing or an advertising perspective, I want to measure how well it's producing for me. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay? So I want to measure. If I'm doing it from a marketing or an advertising perspective, I want to have some degree of measurement over what's going on. So how do I go about doing that? How do I go about implementing a measurement system? What are some of the things that I want to do? Well, first I want to do some basic numbers calculations, and most of us can do this simply by going to our P&L, simply by going to some of our sales tracking figures. But I'd like to know, how much does it cost me to generate an opportunity, a lead, and a new potential customer? How much does that cost me? And depending on my business, it can be very, very, very simple. I'll give you an example. I've got a heating and cooling company that we do work for. Let's pick someone outside of this industry for a minute. And let's talk about what we do for them. We have a phone system that tracks the number of incoming inquiries based on advertised phone numbers, and we advertise multiple numbers by community and area to find out how well that works for us. But we total up the number of inbound inquiries via telephone, via website, all of that type of thing, divided by the amount of money we spend on marketing. It's really simple, and that tells us how much it costs us to generate a lead. And if we want, we can break it down even further. We can try to find out how much it costs us to generate leads via radio, or generate leads via our website, or generate leads via any marketing channel that we're using. And I'm going to explain to you a little bit how you can do all of that. The overriding thing that I want you to get from our time together today is that no matter what it is you're doing in your marketing, it can be measured. And you want to bring it down to that level, and I'm going to help you here, okay? So, how much does it cost to generate a lead? How much does it cost to make a sale? I also would like to understand what is the average dollar value of my sale, and it can vary depending on where I get that lead from or where I get that customer from. So that's what by initiative means there. I'd like to know what's my average margin percentage. So, you know, if I'm a car care center and I do car repair, and let's say my average ticket is $130 a car, and of my average ticket of $130 a car, my average gross margin is 32 points, let's say. Well, I want to know that. I want to be able to transfer that to what is my margin percentage, what is it by dollar value. And for some of you, you'll find that it's important to measure and it's important to understand by initiative. I'll give you an example. If my company gets a lead through LinkedIn, if somebody reads our material on one of our LinkedIn groups, they read that material, they come to our blog, they contact us, that lead is 13% more likely to close and is more likely to close at a 19% higher margin than any lead we get from another source. So those are things that you might be able to break down here on your own. Next, I want to know what my lead conversion rate is to sales. In other words, how many leads or how many website visitors does it take for me to get a lead or to make a sale? And again, I'm going to show you. We can track that by how the lead came to you. Did it come to you through social media, through LinkedIn? Did it come to you paid search advertising, organic advertising? Did it come from a newspaper ad? We're going to show you a little bit how to break that down and be able to track that so you know what's working and how it's producing for you. Now, the last thing all of you need to understand is how much you're willing to pay for a lead and or a customer. And to do that, part of it is you'll need to know how much an average lifetime value is of a customer. So I don't want you to get all wrapped up into this. We're not going to do a whole lot of math today or anything, but some basic numbers. How much does it cost to generate a lead, make a sale? What's the dollar value? These are some basic things that I'd like to understand. Know your numbers. Now, what do we want to be measuring? Well, I'm going to break things down to you. We're doing a higher level overview to get you started and make sure you're comfortable with understanding your marketing ROI. So there are 6 basic areas that we work with people on measuring. One is awareness. How well are you known? And we'll talk about different metrics throughout this discussion today that indicate to you how well you're aware and how well you're known within your market. Next measurement is what's called interest metrics. Those are how people search your content, when they get there, what they click on, what they browse through, and how they consume, what they're doing. Next is engagement. What do they do with your material? Are they on your website? Are they downloading your white papers? Are they liking your page? Are they tweeting about you? Are you getting repeat visits? Those are indicators of engagement. I'm going to expand on these as we go through our discussion this morning. Next is sales. You know, if you're not in business for both fun and profit, I strongly urge you to find something else to do. Life is too short. There's lots of neat, enjoyable things to do, so have fun with it and make sales and make profits. That's why you're there. Simple. And then the last marketing metric that we focus on is what we call advocacy. And advocacy is an indicator of who within your communities are sharing materials, who are your influencers, all of these types of things. So these are 6 basic areas that you can look at. Let's go a little further. I want to get started with all of this. What do I do? All right, I want to know what my marketing ROI is. The first thing I want to do is I want to understand what are my goals and my objectives of my marketing activity. If I have a website, why do I have it and what do I want it to do for me? If my website is designed to generate customers to come into my retail store, that should be the stated goal. That's the objective. And then I should, like any other goal, get a little bit more specific with it. How many do I want? How many a day? How many a month? What are my objectives? I want to define that right up front. Because once I understand what the goal is, then it dictates what kind of marketing activities and promotional channels I'm going to use to achieve the goal. Okay, makes sense, right? I know what my goal is, what my objectives are. Now I need to determine what are my activities and how am I going to promote them to achieve my objective. Then, third part that I want to do is I want to outline the measurable components of the activity. The measurable components of the activity. So if I want to have more people come from my website to my retail store, I want to define what that means, okay? What percentage of visitors come in, what percentage that come in by, how frequently I'm going to measure this, over what periods of time. I want to break it down, okay? Because once I break it down, it helps me determine how I'm going to measure. My fourth step, you have other people within your company, and sometimes it's important that they understand that what's being measured, how often, and in what formats. You know, we have a variety of different people on the call, different companies. Some of you are manufacturers, some of you are retailers. Neat turnout. I want to thank everybody for it. And again, as I said, if you have questions, make sure that you ask them. We want to make sure we answer them as we go through. So, as you saw on the previous slide, I go and I set up, I understand what my benchmarking numbers are. And basically, I'm going to use my P&L to do that, and I'm going to use some of my sales collateral to determine inbound leads and number of transactions. I need to understand that, because once I understand those numbers, it will tell me how much I want to spend to try to attract new business or repeat business. Then I come down to this part that you're seeing here. I break down my objectives, I understand what activities I need to do, and we begin the process of measuring and committing and sticking to an inspection and reporting schedule. Now, what are some of the tools we use? And believe me, my friends, we have varying levels of customers. What I'm wanting to share with you are the most common tools we use to help us measure our marketing ROI. I'm going to give you some explanations of how we use them. I'm then going to go through specific things we look at and how you can do the same and how that ties into your marketing. One of the bigger things we use is a free software program from Google called Google Analytics. I believe that most of you that are on this call are aware of it. There are also other web analytics software programs you can use. The reason that we recommend Google Analytics is that it's free, and that for 90% of everyone we encounter, it does a beautiful job in providing them the marketing information they need. Now, to set up Google Analytics, you have to have your website coded and some of your marketing materials coded to provide the analytical data. Any competent web programmer can do that for you. It will take them approximately 5 minutes a web page. For all of you on this call, I view that your Google Analytics reporting information is just as critical. In fact, maybe even more so than using your P&L and your bank statements to manage your business. It will give you that much insight. We'll share with you that in a minute. Now, another tool that we use to help us measure ROI is what's called variable response phone options. In its most simplistic fashion is I might promote one phone number in a newspaper, I might promote one phone number on a website, I might promote one phone number in my email newsletter and track calls that way. Now, there are other variable response phone options. If you sell product online and you'd like to know if inbound phone calls are coming as a result of paid search or organic search or some other channel, and if you'd even like to know what search terms are driving that traffic, hang with me because I'm going to share that with you in just a few more slides. Okay? So anyway, we use Google Analytics. We use variable response phone options. Barcoding. If you're a retailer, a lot of you will have response offers with coupon redemption and things along that line. So barcoding and barcode readers are something that we use for measurement tools. Good old Excel spreadsheets, because you're going to want to cut and slice and look at your business data maybe in different ways than Google Analytics will give it to you, or some other software you'll use will give it to you. So an Excel spreadsheet is a nice, good tool. You know, I was going to say old-fashioned tool. It's almost like a pencil nowadays in terms of the technology world, but we use Excel spreadsheets quite a bit to look at data and understand what it means. Email and text messaging analytics are something that we use a lot, and we'll share that with you. Facebook Insights, as well as simple expense statements within your accounting software and structures. We're going to chat with you, but for most of the clients, these are the tools that we're using to help them understand marketing ROI. And again, if you're real small, we don't need to tackle all the world at one time. I'm going to give you an action plan at the end of this discussion. We'll help large or small get started in understanding their marketing ROI and what it all means. Okay? These are some of the common tools that we use to do this. Now, what do we measure? Well, one thing we measure, and in my infinite wisdom, I'm not even sure if I have a slide on, but we measure, let me go back. Well, one of the things we measure is subscription and follower rates. How many people are following your page on Facebook, are subscribing to your blog, are following you on LinkedIn, how many Twitter followers do you have? All of those are our engagement metrics that we look at a lot, and we measure them on a trended basis. So engagement metrics like followers and likes and subscribers are real important things to track. Now, we'll track website visitor trending, and we will be doing more advanced training, and I'll have friends of mine that will be coming on conducting webinars about how to use more advanced web analytic applications. I just want to get you started. And if you were to go into Google, they're going to offer you options that will understand how many people visited your website, or how many total visits there were to your website. Of those visits, how many were unique visitors? In other words, I could have 10,000 visits, but 7,000 unique visitors. What does that mean? Well, some of them came back more than once, right? And how many pages did they view, and what was the average page view per visitor and the average time on the site? And a bounce rate. A bounce rate's really an important number for those of you that aren't familiar with it. It kind of gives you an idea of how well people react to what's on your web page or what's on your marketing materials. A bounce rate is somebody that comes to the page and within 15 seconds, most commonly within 15 seconds, they're off the page, they've left. And it's one possible, and I want to emphasize possible because all of our situations are a little bit different, but it's one possible indicator of our performance and influencer of our marketing ROI. So we'll look at, as well, something that's real important to take a look at is browser and mobile capabilities. What are people doing to engage in your content? Are they using IE8, IE7, Firefox? What kind of screen resolutions are most of them looking at your material on? Because one thing that a lot of us as small business owners fall into a trap believing is that everybody looks at our website and it looks on their screen the same way it does on ours. The world doesn't work that way. They may be looking on a different resolution. They may be looking at a different screen. Now, as you see there, we have mobile devices. They could be looking at your website on a cell phone or on an iPad tablet. And so you could be looking at it entirely differently than they are, right? 1,000% differently than what they're looking at. And you want to make sure that that you're kind of tracking that, because one thing that I think that you'll find, I wanted to do a poll question, but I also wanted to give you good information in a lot of it today, so I eliminated the poll. But how many of you are finding that more and more of your website visitors are coming to you via smartphone? Because I promise you, for most of us on the call over the next couple of years, you're going to see an increasing trend. So one of the things we want to look at are browser types, screen resolutions, what kind of mobile devices people are using to get to us, and what mobile carriers they're using and popular with. So those are the things that we kind of focus on quite a bit to help part of the ROI calculation. Next, where's our traffic coming from? We'll look at direct traffic. That's traffic that directly comes to our website. We'll look at traffic that was referred to us by other websites, that was brought by search engines, and it will break it down even further. What was paid traffic? What was free traffic? Did we run ad campaigns? Did we have a certain marketing promotion for the month of October we were running? You can break down your ROI by just about any level that you'd like to look at. By search engine, by keyword, by referring site. If I want to know people that come to my website from LinkedIn, how they interact with my website, how they generate leads, how they buy product, how they call my office, how they interact with my blog, if I want to break it down and know it that fine, I can. Okay? Again, the overriding thing, anything about anything today can be measured. There is zero reason for you not to know your marketing ROI. All right, off the soapbox. Let's go on to my next slide. We look at content. We want to know what pages of your website people are interacting with, of your blog, how they interact with it. You know, if you come to the blog and you came to this blog posting, how do you interact to it? What are the top pages that people come to your website that brings traffic in, and what are the top ones that leave? And you can look at that. You know, if your goal is for your website visitor to come to your website and fill out a form for you to talk to them, and you find that only 2% of everybody comes there does that, well, then you know you've got a problem. And if you expect them to come to your home page and then go to page A and then go to page B and then go to page C and then fill out the contact form, and you stop and you look at what people come to page B, and oh my God, of everybody that comes to page B, 90% of them leave the website. What does that tell you? It tells you you have a problem with page B. And if you work on page B, you've probably improved your opportunities to enhance your ROI. We look at site search, which many of your websites have a little feature that a visitor can search for what they're looking for. And so we'll want to know how many users actually take advantage of that site search and what they do with it. Okay? Yes, and thanks for the questions. We will be posting this. You'll have access to all these slides. You'll get the audio version as well as the video version of what you're looking at right now. And I've got even more. So thank you for the questions, and we want to make sure that you have it. And of course, we measure goals. Is our website and our marketing doing what we want it to do? And again, we can break that down by traffic source and by keyword and by anything that we really want to measure. Okay? Anything we really want to measure. And these are the common goal metrics that we're looking at. The conversion total number, the conversion rate, the reverse path and the pathway analysis to make sure people are doing what we need them to do in the order we want them to do to get to our desired outcome. If you know the monetary values, if I know that every lead, for every 5 leads I get that I make a sale, and that every sale is worth $3,000, let's make the math easy, is worth $5,000 in revenue, well, then I can attach a dollar value to every lead. Every lead is worth about $1,000 in revenue to me, right? Does that make sense? So you can do those kinds of things to help you understand your ROI. And I want to simplify it, so give me a second. It'll be nice and simple, easy way for you to get started to do this, okay? Now, we're often asked a lot, what do we do for social media? How do we look at it? And the bottom line is this. Keep in mind, Brian and Aftermarketer Club's #1 rule in marketing. You market to make money. We're not big believers in marketing to just quote-unquote get your name out there. In fact, if any of you have $1 million to get your name out there, you're wasting it. Why don't you try to spend that $1 million to make money, to make a return? And for social media is no different. You know, yes, we look at how large your community is. You know, how many people are following you on Facebook. We're looking at of those people that are following you, how many are interacting with you. We look at how many leads and sales you get. You know, we have a couple of case studies on our blog about all of this. And leads and sales are extremely important. That's why we're all here. And we look and we channel that, okay? Engagement duration. How long are they interacting with our material? You know, I told you, somebody that comes to my website from LinkedIn, we have great success with. And you'll want to find those kinds of things out. You'll look at trending. You'll look at activity ratios, which is the percentage of your followers that are actually engaging with your material, that are interacting with your material. I can track how many people are mentioning your company or your brands, and you can too, and I'm going to show you easy ways to do that, okay? All right. Now, I'm going to give you an insider secret because I do happen to know that a lot of you that are on this call have people that pick up the phone, they're on your website, they pick up the phone and they want to order parts or they want to book appointments. They do it from your website and you're sitting there figuring, okay, how did they find my website? Was it through search? Was it through pay-per-click advertising? Was it through Facebook? Was it through some sort of social media? How did they find my website to generate the phone call? That's the million-dollar question for a lot of marketers that we encounter, especially those of you that are retailers in this business that are selling online parts, car care services, things along that line, okay? So can I do, here's the scenario. Somebody finds me my website and they're on the phone calling me to buy something or all of that. How can I track what's going on with all that? And the reality is you can find out what search engines it's coming from, what search terms are generating the call. And to do that, you use a technique called variable phone numbers, okay? And there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can have your web programmer do it on their own. And we have a hyperlink that explains how it can be done. All right? And really what will happen is this, is that each of your web pages will display a different telephone number for someone to call depending upon the lead source and the keyword. It does this all dynamically. All right, so it'll give a different phone number, and because of that different phone number, that's how you're able to track the channels. Now, there are also software services that will do this for you as well. One is called If by Phone. The other is CallSource. These are hyperlinked as well. Tomorrow, which is October 19th, Joe of my staff we're so lucky to have, he's in charge of our content for our company. Joe will have this posted and ready to go so that you can access these via hyperlink if you're interested in doing so, because I know many, many, many of you have people who are on your website, they're calling and you're wanting to track what your ROI is, what's working and what's not working. And you can use some of these same concepts for other channels. If I want to know inquiries I get from a particular newspaper ad or something along that line. It's very easy technology. It's very inexpensive technology. And it's just like barcoding. You know, we have a large car care center, many locations. And they were running couponing forever without any barcode tracking to find out coupon redemption rates and channel rates and all of that, which was just wasting lots and lots and lots of marketing dollars. So you can apply that similar concept to other channels. This is a nice, neat tracking technique for those of you that get phone-in inquiries. So please feel free to take a look at that. All right, we're answering questions as we go along. I think everything has been pretty clear for everyone. I want to thank everyone who's hung with me. So now let me give you an action plan. How can you go about calculating your ROI? We've given you some tools you can use. We've given you how to go about setting yourself up to do it. We've given you some areas to look at. We've given you the actual math behind how to calculate return on investment. But how do you go put all of it together? Because we're all different sizes and we all have different issues. Well, first, I encourage you to spend about 1 hour a month looking at your marketing ROI. And this is what I consider to be my minimum. I know that all of you are pressed for time. Believe me, I understand that very much in the world. But the reason you're pressed for time is you're wanting to accomplish things. And we need to do some things. You know, we call it sharpen the axe. We need to take some time instead of just sitting there chopping down wood. Every now and then we have to stop the chopping. We have to sharpen the axe, because the sharper the axe is, the more effective we're going to be at chopping the wood. And to do this with our analytics and our marketing ROI, we need to spend about some of our critical indicators, the things that we talked about earlier, to find out what's working and what's not so we make business decisions. Now, most of us are going to have a variety of different things that we think we can do to improve our profit lines. Through this marketing ROI analysis, we're going to identify opportunities. What I advise you to do is to pick no more than the first 3. List them all. Move on to bigger and better things. Kind of makes sense and kind of simple. Now I want to share with you some resources. These are things that are trying to be very practical, that will help you with your ROI, understanding it and improving it. First, I'm going to make a shameless plug for our No BS Automotive Industry Marketing blog. We put original content on that blog 3 times a week. It's packed with tips and strategies to help you on a variety of marketing topics, not only your ROI. So I encourage you, please check that out. You might get some good stuff out of it. You will get some good stuff out of it to be able to use. The next is a white paper about marketing metrics. It was published by the Wharton School of Business. This is a hyperlink directly to everything that you see there, so when you get the hard copy of these slides, you'll be able to actually click on the link and go to it. It's a white paper. It's about 44 pages, but it's good stuff about marketing metrics that business owners should understand, how to calculate them, and how often to look at them. For those of you that want to do a deeper dive, there's a neat book out. It's called 50 Marketing Metrics Every Executive Should Master. It's written in a straightforward style, not a lot of math in it. Common things that we running our own businesses should understand. This is a hyperlink directly to the Amazon page. We don't make any money off of it or anything along that line. In fact, we don't make money off of anything that we're recommending to you. We would recommend, though, that book if you want a deeper dive into marketing metrics and what you should know of. The Web Analytics Association is a neat association that provides lots of ongoing webinars and training to help you with your understanding of analytics and ROIs. So all of you, I'm getting some messages. Can everybody hear me okay? Joe, I know you're on the call. Can you IM me back to make sure that we're good and everybody can still hear me? I don't want any audio problems or anything. Okay, good. Thank you much. So the Web Analytics Association, as I said, it's a great resource for you. It'll give you lots of good tips and tools. They have both a free and a paid options of that website. And then if you want to go even a little bit deeper, there are summits, meetings, generally 2 or 3 day training sessions about e-metrics and ROI and analytics. And I know I have a few on the call that are a little bit larger businesses. Maybe you have even some analysts in your infrastructure. These e-metrics marketing optimization summits, they're put on by Jim Stern. Jim's one of the pioneers of web analytics, one of the co-founders of the Web Analytics Association. They're held at, I think, 3 different places in the United States, and they're also held at 3 different or 4 different places throughout the world, London, Berlin, places like that, China. So if you'd like to take advantage of any of those, you see the links that are there. Neat time for all of us, SEMA show coming up, all that kind of thing. One, I will be at the SEMA show, so if anybody would like to talk, I'd be happy to do that. Number 2, I'd really like to encourage you to join me November 15th. We're going to do another webinar in November, 2 p.m. Eastern, and in that webinar I'm going to show you how to hire marketing help that actually makes you money. How to hire marketing help that produces results. It was one of the more requested topics on our radio show. I'm going to show you how to find the right marketing people and marketing companies that actually produce results. We're going to go through how you can hire them, what you expect to pay for them, how you can cut through the hype to find what you really need. I'm going to take about 50 minutes. I'm going to give you real-life experiences. I'm going to give you guides to using marketing help and agencies, whether it's in-house or out-of-house, that really helps grow your business. Go to our blog. We're going to be posting on our blog the sign-up a little bit later today if it's not there yet. We'll also be emailing. I hope to see you November 15th. I also obviously hope to see you at the SEMA show. Would love to talk to you. Now, I told you. I told everybody I'm going to be giving answers to the questions. And no, thank you. Somebody has asked. No, I am not teaching at the SEMA show this year. I am not, but I will have a very, very aggressive series of webinars and things along that line. And so, yeah, since webinars, we have somebody from Mexico that is on our call today. Thank you for attending. We have a goal, in fact, at some point in time to actually do Spanish language webinars, so I hope you hang with us. But let me share with you how you can win our prize. I'm going to be giving away marketing consultation and a welcome page. The 18th, number 18 person that emails me at brian@aftermarketerclub.com. We don't share or rent your email. In fact, we have all of your email for most of you anyway, but email me. Number 18 wins the Facebook custom pages. Also, you are the one that will win our 60 minutes together with me to talk about anything that you really would like to talk about. Specifically, we want to help you get more business. That's the purpose of our call. My contact information is there on the screen, both my telephone number and email. Email is generally the best way to try to reach me. However, we're happy to help you any way that we can. We help companies like yours grow your business. We do so in a variety of different ways. You can check us out at aftermarketerclub.com. Again, if you'd like to interact and get together at the SEMA show, please drop me an email. I will be there. I would be happy to meet with you or to talk with you, or even to say hello, to be able to put a face with a name would be fabulous and wonderful. And last but not least, please put us on your calendar, November 15th. One of the questions we get asked a whole lot is how to hire right marketing help. We're going to go through with practical tips and things you can use that will do that for you. I think I've got everybody's questions that are answered. I will again thank you for everything and your time. With that, I'm going to wish you a great day. Stay thirsty, keep marketing, and I hope our paths cross again soon. Bye now.